Along with my colleague, Assemblyman Fred Deal, and pleased to welcome everybody to the General Government and Local Assistance Subcommittee meeting of March 21st, 2023, to help kick off our final budget negotiations. I want to introduce my colleagues who are here on the Senate side. We have Senator Monica Martinez, Senator Rachel May, Senator Stephen Rhodes, Senator Rob Rolison, and also present on the committee, but not here yet, we have Senator Robert Jackson and Senator Luis Sepulveda as an alternate. I'll now turn it over to the Assemblyman for introductions.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Skoufis, and it's a pleasure to join you as the co-chair of the Conference Committee on General Government and Local Assistance. And I would like to introduce the following Assembly members. Assemblymember Jamie Williams, Assemblymember Stacey Pfeffer Amato, Assemblymember Ed Braunstein, Assemblymember Zoran Mamdani, alternate, Assemblymember Mary Jane Shimsky, alternate, Assemblymember Brian Manctolo, and Assemblymember Michael Tanusis.
The Senate designates Ethan Warren as our recording secretary today.
The Assembly would like to introduce Hannah Gauthier as our recording secretary. Gauthier. The following agencies are at our table: Department of Audit and Control, Division of Budget, State Board of Elections, Executive Chamber, Department of Financial Services, Office of General Services, Office of Information Technology, Office of the State Inspector General, the Commission on Ethics and Lobbying, Local Government Assistance, the Department of State, Statewide Financial System, the Department of Taxation and Finance, General State Charges, the Division of Tax Appeals, and miscellaneous general government.
So as we convene this conference committee, I'll just tee up some opening remarks and some super top-line highlights from our One House and some of the issues that we expect to be discussing over the next couple of weeks. And so negotiations are ongoing for many general government agencies and for local government assistance, including the agencies that Assemblyman Thiel just outlined, and executive language proposals, as well as those introduced by each House last week. During the next 2 weeks, our table will be discussing a number of noteworthy proposals. The Senate has proposed increasing aid and incentives to municipalities by $210 million, as well as language that would create a commission to study how AIM is distributed. Additionally, the Senate has proposed providing $30 million to our local boards of election for both operating and capital support. The Senate has also proposed providing $30 million in additional funding for the Office of New Americans to provide support services for immigrant New Yorkers, as well as $33.25 million in funding for support services for the AAPI New Yorkers that are in our state. The Senate has also provided $10 million in funding to create the Office of Native American Affairs, as well as the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice, among many, many, many other items. With that, I'll turn it over to the Assembly again.
Well, thank you. And for some opening remarks for the Assembly, general government agencies play an essential role in the daily operation of state government and provide services to people and businesses throughout the state. As the Assembly, Senate, and Executive proceed through the budget negotiations, we hope to enact legislation increasing funding and advancing policies for these agencies and to enhance oversight, regulation, and enforcement of state laws, as well as create a more efficient and effective use of government services and funding. In our One House bill, the Assembly has proposed increased funding for the Office of New Americans, which provides critical services for Asian American and Pacific Islanders, citizenship attainment for non-citizens, non-citizen legal services, and language access programs. Additionally, the Assembly proposes to provide a new $20 million in funding for community-based organizations providing services to disadvantaged communities. The Assembly proposes a new $625 million statewide program to reduce housing costs by incentivizing municipalities to facilitate the construction of new housing, especially affordable housing. Thank you.
I know a number of my Senate colleagues have some remarks they want to share, and I'll first turn it over to Senator May.
Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who's here. I just want to say that as chair of the Committee on The Cities 2 Committee, which is cities outside of New York City, I am very grateful that both the Senate and Assembly have put in additional AIM funding, which is critical to our upstate cities, or cities all over the state, but also the funding for New Americans. Our upstate cities depend on refugees. We get a lot of refugees coming to upstate, and they transform our economy and in wonderful ways. They bring a lot of entrepreneurship and other activity to our cities, and I'm really glad that we're able to advocate for this funding for the Office of New Americans and for the AAPI community, which is growing rapidly in upstate New York, as well as the Office of Native American Affairs, which I think we have neglected for a long time. So I'm thrilled that we are doing that. I also have to say, though it's not exactly at this table, that the affordable housing piece is truly a crisis in upstate cities, and we definitely need to be addressing that in the course of these budget negotiations. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator May. We've been joined by Senator Robert Jackson, and I'll turn it over to him for some commentary.
First, let me thank you, Chair of the Senate, and the Assembly Chair of this work group. I'm Robert Jackson. I represent the 31st Senatorial District in New York City, and I chair the Civil Service and Pensions Committee. And I'm looking forward to the bills in here that address the issues of civil service and pensions with my colleague, understanding that the job situation in New York State, we cannot recruit enough employees in the state of New York because of the low salaries and other benefits that are not being at the same level where they can retain people. So I look forward to working with us, understanding the issues and concerns that we're discussing in the Civil Service and Pensions Committee is not for those that are part of the 1% in our state of New York, but of the working class that is the foundation of our state moving forward and addressing issues and concerns and speeding up the process where what we do from a legislative point of view and the governor from an executive point of view helps the average family that's in New York State. And with that, I take to my chair and the other co-chair, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Next up will be Senator Rollison.
Thank you, Co-Chair Senator Skoufis. As some of you may know, I just concluded prior to having the honor of being elected to the state senate, I was mayor of the city of Poughkeepsie for 7 years. As an executive committee member of New York Conference of Mayors, we looked intently every year at the executive's proposed budget and then what the one house bills, both from the Senate and the Assembly, would do for a local aid to municipalities. Local municipalities need state aid. They've needed increased state aid. I'm very pleased to see that the Senate has increased AIM funding by $210 million. I know last year in both one-house budgets, AIM funding was increased. I think it was the first time that had been done in quite a few years. It didn't make it into the final budget. I am hoping that through negotiations that will happen because it remained flat. And I can speak for the city of Poughkeepsie and other cities. We are very, very dependent on AIM funding, and it relieves the property tax burden on our taxpayers. Also, I think there's probably nobody in this room that would say that our roads are in good shape and they are not in need of immediate repair. Increased CHIPS funding is essential, extreme winter recovery also being increased in the other bills outside of the executive budget, which maintained the funding at the current levels. We need to increase the infrastructure spending because it's crumbling. And I know all of you know that. I know all of my colleagues here in front of the room know that as well. The water and sewer infrastructure funding is critical to taking care of things that you don't see. It's the things that are underneath the ground that you don't see that can cost you the most and also can do environmental damage as well. And as my colleague Senator Jackson said about the civil service reforms, again, I don't think anyone would say that the civil service system in this state needs to change. It is a barrier to employment in so many ways, and it needs to be modernized. And the continuous recruitment and other things that are proposed as we move forward. I hope they stay in the final adopted negotiations with the governor and both houses, because we need to do things differently. What is working right now within our civil service system is not working. And there are other things I could talk about, but I want to turn back over to Senator Skoufis. I think Senator Rhodes wants to speak as well. Thank you, Senator.
Thanks very much, Senator Rollison. And yes, last but certainly not least, Senator Rhodes.
Thank you so much, Senator Skoufis. I appreciate that. My name is Steve Rhodes. I represent the 5th Senatorial District in the southeast corner of Nassau County. I'm the ranker on local governments. I also want to thank our chair, Monica Martinez, for the opportunity as well. Just a couple of quick notes from our perspective from my perspective on the budget. The Senate has proposed a $236 billion budget. That is an increase of nearly 40% in just the last 5 years. New York State, unfortunately, has a penchant for spending too much, for taxing too much, and that's something that we're going to need to address both in this budget and budgets going forward, because the bottom line is, as much as we want to create opportunity for our citizens, part of creating opportunity means making it affordable for people to be able to live here, and I think we may have lost sight of that. But I'm looking forward to this conversation. I could not agree more with Senator Rollison's comments about aid to municipalities and our AIM funding, about CHIPS funding. Our local governments are the ones that are where the rubber meets the road, quite literally. And the bottom line is the aid that they do not receive from the state results directly in property tax increases in order for them to be able to make up the difference. And in a situation where, specifically with respect to Medicaid funding, where every dollar that's collected in property taxes by local municipalities, by our counties, goes to supplement Medicaid funding, and the rest of it is paid through either sales tax or other revenue sources, the more we can provide local governments with assistance, the more we can provide relief to local taxpayers. One concern that I do have with respect to AIM funding, and I hope that that this will be addressed by our conference committee, is that the AIM redesign task force proposal does not include minority representation either in the Assembly or the Senate. For a conversation as important as that, there should be representatives from all sides at the table so that we can have a full and robust discussion about critical issues. With respect to housing, the governor's proposal with respect to housing and the way it was addressed in our budget, we appreciate the mandates being removed. But again, this is a conversation that should be taking place with local governments involved in the conversation. Doing this as part of the budget process makes it very difficult for that to move forward. There are many constructive solutions that our local village mayors, that our local town supervisors would have to help address the housing crisis. Those voices are not being heard, and it's very difficult to do that when we've condensed this into what is essentially a 3-week process where we're setting extraordinary goals and, in my opinion, unachievable goals, and sort of thrusting it upon local municipalities without them being a part of the conversation. And lastly, I believe we do need to look at our public financing of elections, matching funds. I know there are issues with respect to the program already and whether or not it's going to be implemented. That is something that I think we should be revisiting. And finally, I know I said finally once before, with respect to I appreciate the Senate putting back in, removing the governor's proposal to remove funding from the North Shore Water Authority, addressing a critical infrastructure issue on the North Shore of Long Island. But there is a South Shore Water Authority as well, which never received funding. And I would simply ask that as we address these proposals, that we consider including the South Shore Water Authority, which is addressing the same issue, but simply in a different geographic region of the island. But thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Senator Rhodes. I'll turn it back over to my good colleague in the Assembly.
Thank you. And let me first recognize Assemblyman Brian Mantalo, representing the Republican side here in the Assembly on this conference committee.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with my colleague, Michael Tanusis from Staten Island as well. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak here, for having the opportunity to talk with you, and as on behalf of all of our Assembly members, our minority conference members. as we embark again on the budget this year, I'm hoping that from our minority side that instead of 3 individuals in a room, we have 5 individuals in a room. Because as we look across the state, I just want to make sure, and we want to make sure that, every individual that we represent is represented at the table. And as we continue through this budget conference committees, it provides a valuable piece to everyday people, the transparency that we have here in Albany. And as we know, the governor's budget is again against local taxpayers and the cost for local taxpayers, and it will exacerbate the affordability of homeowners, small businesses, and renters, believe it or not, yes, renters. And but we need to make sure that's at the table as we move forward. The administration's actions like intercepting our federal Medicaid dollars to our local counties, being a former town supervisor and county legislator, I fully understand that's just another tax shift for our local taxpayers. And again, looking at the housing situation, I know back in some of our districts, we have the housing that's available, so across the board housing shift and across the board what the governor wants to do really isn't acceptable back home. We understand it long-term across the state, but right now in our local districts, especially in our rural districts, I think we have the housing stock that's affordable. And I'd rather not waste money on that side of it, so just sharing that with you as well. And as the governor moves forward with her budget, she really failed to provide meaningful tax relief to our taxpayers. And again, being a former town supervisor, understanding about AIM and how important that is. And I'm so glad, I believe the Senate, one house had that in there, so I want to thank the Senate for that. And I'm hoping as we bring it to the table, we can see that as well from the Assembly side, because it does affect all of us. We do have higher property taxes here, as we said, and those direct costs will rise up the cost of doing housing and building housing across the state. And, it really is a key contributor to people leaving. That's what I'm hearing from my constituents. As I said earlier, I'm happy and we're happy to see that in the Senate One House budget there was an increase in AIM funding, which is so important to our local taxpayers, so important to our local municipalities. Again, we need to oppose the Medicaid cost shift, because if we're not spending it here, our people back home, our counties, our towns, our villages, and our small communities will have to pick up that cost. And again, I've already talked about the housing plan. The 2 last things I'd like to talk a little bit is we really need to work with our local governments back home to identify the mandates that they have and how these mandates affect them each and every single day. Those of us who have been supervisors and mayors, we understand how those mandates affect us at our local levels and at the county level as well. And again, it's another tax shift, and it's going to raise property taxes back home, and I think we really need to address that here at the state level. And again, we need to really look at long-term real property tax relief for our homeowners and businesses across New York State. This stabbing at it every year in the budget, let's come up with a 5 or 10 year plan on how we're going to address this long term. And I think our conference wants to be part of that conversation. We want to take a lead on this, and we want to be part of the solution. And just to close, I really do, and we hope that negotiations continue to take place in a public transparency manner, and that we can do more for our local governments and taxpayers across the state. Because as we serve here, it's not about us here at this table. It's not about us in our chambers. It's about the taxpayers back home and what they can and can't afford. So I'm willing and looking forward to working with all of you, and I thank you for all of your comments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Assemblyman Mantalo. Are there any other members of on the Assembly side who would like to make opening remarks? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Senator Skoufis.
Thanks very much, and thanks to your Assembly colleagues for their brevity. So we're at closing remarks. All I have to say is look forward to working with everyone here, including you, Assemblyman Thiel, and everyone at this table. Over the next 2 weeks, we expect will be a long 2 weeks, working with staff who are the hardest working staff in the business up here. We look forward to a final budget that reflects the priorities and the will of the 20 million New Yorkers that we collectively represent. So thank you for the partnership, and I'll turn it back over to you if you have any closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Senator Skoufis, and again, it's a pleasure to be working with you again, and I certainly look forward to this open and bipartisan process of trying to reach a final agreement on the budget. You know, we've got a lot of work to do in a very, very short period of time, and I believe that the conference committee process can play a valuable role in helping us to reach a resolution with regard to the budget. I look forward to reporting back to the public and to our fellow colleagues on general government and local assistance as we make progress through the budget process. But until then, we are finished with our meeting today, and we can jointly adjourn this meeting. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.